Uniambie na mimi naongea. Mm. All right, this is the second part of the third episode of the Testament of Moses. We're looking at the journey of the Israelites from Egypt all the way to Canaan and the aspects of God. We're learning the qualities, the attributes of God. We're learning from this particular story of the Israelites. And we are looking at the 10 plagues. We've looked at 4 of them. And if I were Pharaoh, at the 4th one, I could have surrendered already and said, wewe uchukue watu wako uende na wao, because the kind of things he has done in Egypt. But Pharaoh can't do that because his heart is hardened. And just the way he told Moses that actually with his heart hardened like that, it is not going to be easy for you. Unaenda kupokea tabu full dose, na Wanaisraeli wenyewe wamepokea tabu full dose because his heart is hardened. So God is still giving him that, probation period. Aweke kwenye weighing balance, ajione, are these people going or are they staying? If they're going, then let them go. If they're staying, then they're staying. Because Pharaoh has a hard heart because he has deemed himself as God. He is seeing himself as a God. He has deemed himself all powerful. He has deemed himself the ruler of the land of Egypt. He has deemed himself the supreme being in the whole of Egypt, and he's seeing himself as untouchable. Yeye ni mnoma, yeye ni mgenje yani. If I were Pharaoh at this point, at the 4th plague, ningeinua mikono, ningesalimu amri, niseme jamani, chukua watu wako na uende. I mean, the water has been turned into blood. Ukasema ni ujanja, ukasema ni magic. Ukaita magicians wakafanya. Na kweli ikawa ni magic. La pili, frogs wakakuja pale vile. Your God with a small g has been mocked. You have a God that is represented by the head of a frog. Frogs wakakuja pale vile, the land stank. Kutoka kwa frogs pale vile, lice wakaja. The environment is no longer good, it's no longer safe, it's no longer comfortable. Kujikuna kujiwaua na lice kila saa. The whole of Egypt was covered by lice. Na bado huko tu. Na hapa kwa lice, unajua ilishinda wale magicians kufanya, na wakasema this is the finger of God. But Pharaoh still has a hard heart, na amekataa kuachilia. Watu wengine wamekita wakasema hii ni mkono ya Mungu, hii yenye imetushinda, hii ni mkono ya Mungu. But still there, si amekataa kuachilia waende. Flies wamekuja, si baada amekataa tu. Na actually Mungu anasema, I will make a distinction between my people and the people of Egypt. Wale watu wangu hawataguswa. Wewe just imagine flies all over. Kwa chakula, wakwapi. That kind of surrounding. And then bado huko tu roho yako ni ngumu. Hey, which kind of heart do you have at Pharaoh jamani? All right. Let's look at chapter 9. And the Lord, chapter 9, and the Lord said unto Moses, go it unto Pharaoh, and tell him, thus said the Lord of the Hebrews, let my people go, that they may serve me. For if thou refuse to let them go, and will hold them still, behold, the hand of the Lord is upon thy cattle, which is in the field, the camels, upon the oxen, and upon the sheep. There shall be a grievous murrain, and the Lord shall sever between the cattle of Israel and the cattle of Egypt, and there shall not die of the there shall nothing died of all that is in the children of Israel, that is in Goshen. And the Lord appointed a set time, saying, tomorrow. Baada amepewa privilege, baada amepewa ile probation period, baada amepewa ile grace period yake ya kesho. And all the cattle of Egypt, verse 6, and the Lord did that thing on the morrow, and all the cattle of Egypt died, but of the cattle of the children of Israel died not one. And Pharaoh sent, and behold, there was not one of the cattle of the Israelites dead. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, and he did not let the people go. Jamani, yani wewe umeona the cattle in Israel wote wamekufa. I mean in Egypt, the cattle in Egypt wote wamekufa. And then looking at Israel, hadi ametumana, hebu mwende mwangalie kama hii kitu yenye inasemekana ni kweli, ati pale Israel hakuna watu wanachinja ng'ombe ama nini, ama ati wamekufa. And actually wakaenda na the report that they came back with, actually there is none. There's no livestock, there's no cattle in Egypt, in Israel, that has actually died. Ni hizi zetu tu wamekufa. So God was just trying to tell Pharaoh that wealth, status, these physical possessions, they can't vanish overnight. Imagine the kind of livestock they had in the kingdom. Na wakafa wote. So hivi vitu tuko navyo vidogo vidogo vinaweza zikaenda, they can go overnight, just like that. So tusiziegemee sana. Sasa hizo ndio basics of life, hiyo tusai ati inatusukuma kwa maisha. Tusiziegemee sana, because they can vanish overnight, just as what is happening in Egypt in the scriptures. At the same time here, God is also trying to prove that He is the provider. He is also the sustainer. And He is also challenging the sacred bull god of the Egyptians and the cattle goddess of the Egyptians. There's a god in Egypt that is represented by a bull. And actually in previous hapo nyuma kidogo, Pharaoh was asking Moses, mbona tu wale wana wa Israeli wasiende? No, he was actually telling Moses that mbona tu hiyo sacrifice msifanye hapo, kwani lazima tu muende kwa desert huko, mbona msifanye sacrifice hapo? Na akasema unataka hao Egyptians watupige na mimi watuue, ati tuna sacrifice miungu yenu? You want them to stone us to death because we are sacrificing your gods? So no, lazima tuende kwa desert penye tutapigwa na mawe, penye tutauawa kwa kusacrifice ng'ombe. So they had a god, and God now Jehovah is now challenging Pharaoh that actually this bull god of yours Hathor actually is powerless. Si mko na cattle goddess hapa, mbona sasa aja prevent kunini kukufa? He is still supreme. He is the supreme God. Na akisema wakufa wanakufa. This is somebody that just use word of mouth to create the whole of the earth. Sasa kuua tu ng'ombe na kondoo na mbuzi ni kitu itamchukua dakika ngapi? This is somebody that actually also wants to destroy this particular earth with floods, na kukaanza upya new generation. So hii aferi mshinde kufanya. Pharaoh wewe naye upya uko na mchezo bwana. Then after that there is coming another plague, boils. Unajua Pharaoh's heart is still hard. Na amekataa kwa kila watu, na amesema hawaendi. His heart is hard. Na amesema hawakanyagi, hawatoki. Let us see. And the Lord said unto Moses and unto Aaron, take to you a handful of ashes of the furnace, and let Moses sprinkle it toward the heaven in the sight of Pharaoh, and it shall become small dust in all the land of Egypt, and shall be a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast throughout all the land of Egypt. And they took ashes of the furnace and stood before Pharaoh, and Moses sprinkled it up towards heaven, and it became a boil breaking forth with blains upon man and upon beast, and the magicians could not stand before um, Moses because of the boils, for the boil was upon the magicians and upon all the Egyptians. And the Lord hardened the heart of Pharaoh, and he hearkened not unto them as the Lord had said. Umesikia hiyo story? Akaambiwa Musa na Aaron, mwende mchukue jivu pale kwa furnace na mpulize juu angani huko mbele ya Pharaoh, na itafanyika kuwa ni boil. It will turn actually into a boil, and it is blistering with pain. Umeshikwa na boil wewe, na hii inakushika mwili mzima, to an extent that even the magicians themselves could not do what? Could not even stand before Moses, kwa sababu jamani, they are in pain, including the king himself. But his heart is still, anasema boil tu ndio yani your God can only cause boil. Huyo Mungu ako na mchezo boils. Huyo Mungu ako na mchezo sana. And actually we have a healing God, we have a God of medicine. So hiyo is to kupatia hata pressure. Yeah, they have a healing God. Watu wa Egypt. So wakiona hii boil hii ya Musa hii, anasema hii ni kitu kidogo hii. Sacrifice tu 2-3 hapa na tumemaliza hii story. But the lesson we draw from this particular plague is that physical health, mambo na strength, they all belong to God. Hizo zote ni Mungu anapeana. Good health ni Mungu anapeana. Okay? No human remedy. No human remedy. Hakuna magic yoyote, hakuna remedy yoyote ya kibinadamu, hakuna nguvu zozote za kibinadamu can stand against the judgment of God. Pharaoh anadharau kwa sababu anaona wako na zile goddesses zao za medicine, sijui za fertility, za sijui land, za sijui nini. So unajua nadharau, anasema tu nitaenda tutoe sacrifice na tupone. And I bet if they did, ilikunywa maji. So God is actually still supreme. That is the whole point is trying to prove to Pharaoh that there is actually no other God like me. Hakuna mwenye anajilinganisha na mimi. Kwani wewe hujasikia hadithi ya vitu ilifanyika nyuma kunihusu wewe Pharaoh? Yet you still stand and say that you are God in my land, yenye mimi mwenyewe niliumba kwa siku 6. You must be joking. You're not serious, Pharaoh. So this plague bypassed the authority of the goddess of healing and that of medicine, because the magicians themselves, they tried, but lakini si hawakupona till Moses is still coming there, and they cannot even stand before Moses kwa sababu that pain ambao wako na, and it is even upon the beasts wale ambao wali survive that belonged to Egypt, and every household in Egypt walishikwa na boil. Let us look at the next plague, that is hail and fire, in chapter 9, 13 to 35. And the Lord said unto Moses, Rise up early in the morning, and stand before Pharaoh, and say unto him, Thus saith the Lord God of the Hebrews, Let my people go, that they may serve me. For I will at this time send all my plagues upon thine heart, and upon thy servants, and upon thy people, that thou mayest know that there is none like me in all the earth. For now I will stretch out my hand, and I may smite thee and thy people with pestilence, and thou shalt be cut off from the earth. And in very deed for this cause have I raised thee up, for to shew in thee my power, and that my name may be declared throughout all the earth. As yet exaltest thou thyself against my people, and thou wilt not let them go. Si unaijinua mbele ya watu wangu ati wewe ni Mungu, wewe ndio sijui supreme, wewe ndio sijui kiani nini nini na actually it's a question God is asking that na utawaachilia, si ndio? Utawaachilia haya, you will not let them go. Behold, tomorrow about this time I will cause it to rain a very grievous hail, such as hath not been in Egypt since the foundation thereof, even unto now. Ile hail ambayo itakuja hapa, ile hail of fire that will rain in Egypt, such that has never been seen since the foundations of this land of Egypt. Wow. Hakujawahi kuwa na ingine kama hii. Send therefore now and gather thy cattle and all that thou hast in the field, for upon every man and the beast which shall be found in the field and shall not be brought home, the hail shall come down upon them and shall die. He that feareth the word of the Lord among the servants of Pharaoh made his servants and his cattle flee into the houses, and he hath regarded not the word of the Lord, left his servants his cattle in the field. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch forth thine hand towards heaven, that there may be hail in all the land of Egypt, upon every herb of the field throughout the land of Egypt. And Moses stretched forth his rod toward heaven, and the Lord sent thunder and hail, and the fire rained along upon the ground, and the Lord raised hail upon the land of Egypt. So there was hail and fire mingled with the hail, very grievous, such as there was none like it in all the land of Egypt, since it became a nation. And the hail smote throughout all the land of Egypt, and all that was in the field, both man and beast. And hail smote every herb of the field, and brake every tree of the field. Only in the land of Goshen, where the children of Israel were, was there no hail. And Pharaoh sent and called for Moses and Aaron, and said unto them, I have seen this time, the Lord is righteous, and I and my people are wicked. Kwenda huko wewe. Sasa hii ndio unaona ati uko wicked na nyinyi na watu wako. And you know, I like the part where it's mentioned that there are still some servants of Pharaoh that actually hearkened to this particular call, that hearkened to this particular instruction, and because they have seen right from the first plague, saizi tuko kwa plague ya saba. They have seen the hand of the Lord. They have seen the mighty works of the Lord. They have seen the plagues with their own eyes. Zile boils, zile flies, zile lice, chura, damu. Na wanasema yenyewe this is God. Huyu hatuwezi compare na hizi mbao zetu tumeweka hapa, hizi mawe tumechonga chonga hapa. We cannot compare. So they hearkened actually to Moses, na wakaenda wakatoa mifugo yao na wakajifungia kwa nyumba. And some wakaokolewa. So it means in as much as Pharaoh akuna na roho ngumu hivyo, na pia kuna watu wengine kama Pharaoh hapo hivyo hawataki kusikia, there are still some people who are actually willing to follow this particular voice and actually go to where it's safe. And they were redeemed together with their livestock. Kama hiyo hail na fire ilikupata nje, mtu wangu, ilikuwa inakutandika na kumaliza, na iliharibu miti, iliharibu mimea, iliharibu sijui, iliharibu kila kitu. So Pharaoh anapokaa na anaangalia hivi, ndio sasa nakuja na anasema, mimi na watu wangu, we are wicked, we have sinned against the Lord. The Lord is righteous. Huyu Mungu wenu apewe sifa zake na inuliwe. Mimi na watu wangu sisi ni watu wabaya kabisa. So define God's define God or define his word leads to total devastation. Mambo yake inaweza ikasambaratika kabisa. This plague challenged the God of the sky, proving that actually the atmosphere, the environment, the whole earth answers to God. Answers to only one God, that is Jehovah. They had the God of the skies, walikuwa naomba wakitaka mvua, sijui wakitaka sijui upepo, sijui ifanyike, sijui na namna gani. They used to pray to a God of the sky. But God is trying to reprove them and tell them that actually, you know what, the whole earth answers to me. Mimi ndio nasema wakati mvua itanyesha na wakati mvua itanyesha, wakati kutakuja hail na wakati hakutakuwa na hail, wakati kutakuwa na thunder na wakati hakutakuwa na thunder. I am the one who controls everything. Mimi ndio niko kwenye controls, na si wewe Pharaoh. So 28, entreat the Lord for it is enough. Hii sasa ni Pharaoh anasema, jamani, ongea na Mungu jamani, imetosha. Ongea na Mungu, imetosha jamani. For it is enough. And there be no more mighty thunderings and hail, and I will let you go. Ya kwamba hii sarakasi yote iishe, alafu nyinyi muondoke muende. Because mimi I've also seen enough. And Moses said unto him, as soon as I am gone out of this city, I will spread abroad my hands unto the Lord, and the thunder shall cease. Neither shall there be any more hail, that thou mayest know how that the earth is the Lord's. Ya kwamba ulimwengu hii ulimwengu ni ya Mungu, si yenu na hizo mbao zenu mmechonga na hizo sijui bulls na sijui nini. That is the Lord's. But as for thee and thy servants, I know that ye will not yet fear the Lord God. Musa pia kuna so unajua anaambia Pharaoh, because hii game Pharaoh amekuwa akicheza na Musa right from day one. Anasema kesho nitawachilia, na inafika kesho na awachili, because he has a hard heart. So unajua Pharaoh anasema actually that this time around it is enough. So wewe ubonga na Mungu, hii story yote iishe, hizi hail iwache kunini, kwa sababu inaua watu, inaua wanyama, inaharibu mimea kwa shamba. Lakini Musa anamwambia, mimi nakujua na watu wako, you're not going to fear the Lord God. Auendi kufanya venye umesema. And Moses went out of the city from Pharaoh and spread abroad his hands unto the Lord, and the thunders and hail ceased, and the rain was not poured upon the earth. And when Pharaoh saw that the rain and the hail and the thunders were ceased, he sinned yet more. Na alizidi tu, and hardened his heart, he and his servants. Hawakukoma. And the heart of Pharaoh was hardened, neither would he let the children of Israel go, as the Lord had spoken by Moses. Angeweza. Let us look at the next plague. In chapter 10, verses 1 up to around 20, now we are looking at the locusts. So, with the locusts, wild locusts, wako na ile hasira. This is Exodus from chapter 10 verse 1 to 20. So unajua wamekuja pale vile na ile rage yote, they are eating everything green that they find. They are eating every herb they are finding. So unajua chakula pia sasa haiko. Everything green, all the fruits, everything, anything that was left from that particular thunder and hail, sasa these locusts were actually dealing with it. Tabu. Pride and stubbornness, ile ya Pharaoh, results in ruin. God was also trying to tell him that actually I'm the God of harvest. So mlikuwa mnadhani ati hizi zimesurvive, bado kumbe ndio uko kunaalika maua. If you want a good harvest, actually ni mimi. So he is the God of harvest. God is also challenging the god of grain, it was called Nepri, and the god of crops that was called Min. Just trying to tell Pharaoh that actually those gods of yours are actually useless. Sasa mbona hajawasaidia? Si huwa mnaenda kuomba mkitaka kuvuna. Sasa mbona hawajawasaidia? So that is about locusts. Now Pharaoh called for Moses and Aaron in haste, and he said, I have sinned against the Lord your God and against you. Now therefore forgive, I pray thee, my sin only this once, and entreat the Lord your God, that he may take away from me this death only. And he went out from Pharaoh and entreated the Lord, and the Lord turned a mighty strong west wind, which took away the locusts and cast them into the Red Sea. There remaineth not one locust in all the coast of Egypt. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, so that he would not let the children of Israel go. And the Lord said unto Moses, stretch out. Oh, this is now the next plague. Yeah? So Pharaoh baada amekuja tuna ile kwa anasema actually I have sinned against you, I have sinned against your God. And uniombee msamaha. This locusts watoke kwa sababu sasa hakuna hata chakula ya kukula huko. Then Pharaoh went. Moses went. Na Moses anatoka tu ndip. Roho ngumu. Na watu hata hawakuenda. Now in verse 21 of chapter 10, now that plague of darkness. And Moses stretched forth his hand towards heaven, and there was a thick darkness in all the land of Egypt. For 3 days they saw not one another, neither rose any from his place for 3 days, but all the children of Israel had light in their dwellings. And Pharaoh called unto Moses and said, Go ye, serve the Lord only, let your flocks and your herds be stayed, let your little ones also go with you. And Moses said, Thou must give us also sacrifices and burnt offerings, that we may sacrifice unto the Lord our God. Our cattle also shall go with us, there shall not an hoof be left behind, for thereof must we take to serve the Lord our God, and we know not with what we must serve the Lord until we come hither. But the Lord hardened Pharaoh's heart, and he would not let them go. And Pharaoh said unto him, Get thee from me, take heed to thyself, see my face no more, for in that day thou seest my face, thou shalt die. And Moses said, Thou hast spoken well, I will see thy face again no more. So there was darkness that could be felt for 3 days. Giza totoro. But then when they are looking at the other side, actually kuna mwangaza. Wakiangalia Goshen kuna mwangaza, huku kaunda kuna mwangaza. So God makes a distinction between his people actually. And if you claim to be a Christian, then if we look at you, we should see the light. We should be able to separate the light from the darkness we have. You as a Christian, you as a born again. So if you claim to be born again, somebody should look at you and your actions and actually say, this is light, this is darkness. So there's darkness in Egypt for 3 days. Thick darkness that could be felt for 3 days. Amunani na kuna hata mwenye alikuwa nainuka. So the lesson we learned from this plague of darkness for 3 days is that actually spiritual darkness leads to absolute darkness, isolation, and confusion. God also wanted them to know that he is actually the God of light. And this was a direct attack on Pharaoh himself, kwa sababu yeye alikuwa anajiona Mungu. It was a direct attack on him and Ra. Because Ra is the sun god, so it means yeye ndio provider of light kwa hapa Egypt. So if let me use it. If it was not able, this Ra was not able to provide light for them for 3 days, then Pharaoh himself should open his eyes and say, kumbe huyu Ra pia sana useless. It is the sun god, right? It's the sun god. Na ameshindwa ku provide light in Egypt for 3 days. Save for Goshen ambao kuna mwangaza, that God has actually placed a distinction between his people and the other side. So God rules the sun, and no human power, no human ruler holds real power against nature, against creation. It is God. Then this last plague, I would love us to put it aside for the next episode, because there are a lot of lessons we learn from the death of the firstborn. That is in chapter uh, 11, from verse 1 all the way to chapter 12. So I would love to reserve it for the next episode, so that we look at the Passover, we look at the preparation there, because the Passover is in picture, and it's pictorial, and it's also in symbolism. There are a lot of symbolic lessons we learn from uh, the Passover in relation to Christ, and the second coming and everything. The sacrifices that had to be done, the services that also had to be done during the Passover, and even unto the death of the firstborns. So I would love to reserve that for the next episode, and I would love to end this episode here, so that uh, we see each other in the next episode. Mhm. So thank you for watching this one. Be sure to like, subscribe, and share. My name is Jojo Tieno. Have yourselves a lovely day. See you in the fourth episode, where we'll be looking at now the Passover feast, and the death of the firstborn, Pharaoh's emotions, and now we'll be looking at now the journey actually out of Egypt, because now after Passover, that is where everything now takes time. See you in the next episode.